morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told how to voice the radio. So today, it's time to tell you about an absolute hero. It's the lovely Matthew Verive immunity over on Twitter. Because you see, some of you may have heard this already, but Matthew went to the North American International Championships this past weekend, and Matthew did what no person had ever done in the history of the Pokémon trading card game, and that is, he turned up, and his deck, compared to his opponents, looked like this. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Matthew took a jumbo deck to the Pokémon TCG North American International Championships like an absolute hero. And I adore that Matthew did this, ladies and gentlemen. I absolutely adore it. And I was thinking about making this video. I did message the lovely Matthew Verive. And look, I've told you, if you watch my videos regularly, you'll have heard Matthew's name a bunch of times, because Matthew is awesome and helps us out in a bunch of ways. We like Matthew. He's a brilliant, brilliant person. But I did message him and I went, Matthew, just in case I make a video, right? Why did you play it? And the quote, which is an amazing quote, was, "A burning desire to make the jumbos more useful than draw fillers." And Matthew's been on this for a little while. This idea of playing an entire deck of jumbo cards, I just didn't think he would actually be able to go and do it. And he finally did. And one of the most important factors in this was with the advent of the Sword and Shield TCG, Pokemon went and standardized the size of jumbo cards. Now, I don't have time to go into all of this because this would take ages and really not actually be all that interesting. But if you go back and check a bunch of old jumbo cards, pre-Sword and Shield jumbo cards, you will notice that they're all annoyingly different sizes. And what that means is that it's actually really awkward to try and make a deck of jumbo cards because they're all different sizes, and you know, jumbo or normal aside, well, I think we can all agree your cards have got to be the same size or else they're clearly marked and can't be told apart. And if you want some recent products, you can look at stuff like the Pikachu and Zekrom or Reshiram and Charizard boxes that do actually come with your, jumbo cards. However, unfortunately, they are, Sword and Shield cards. And that's a little bit of a problem because they're not a uniform size. And that means that they are, Matthew couldn't have put that in his deck, for instance. Now, some people have been asking, well, hang on a second, Wassy. How many games did Matthew win? How many games could he win? And the answer is 0. It was a guarantee going into the weekend that Matthew was going to not win a single match with these cards, with this deck. And the reason is extremely simple. There are no jumbo energy cards. And there are no jumbo cards with free attacks. What that means is the only win condition Matthew had was drawing very few cards and hoping his opponent decked themselves out before they took 6 prizes. That was Matthew's entire win condition here. Obviously, that was not likely to happen. For anybody wondering, no, there's no trainer cards either. It's all just Pokemon. And that's a little bit sad, but that's the way it goes. So, yeah, unfortunately, Matthew was never going to win a game, but that's not the point. The point was, look, I can do it. But then that led to the very interesting question of, was Matthew allowed to do this? Now, there's a couple of things you need to know about Matthew, first of all. Firstly, Matthew is an absolute expert when it comes to the Pokemon TCG and has done some work with the Compendium team, although I don't know exactly what form that took, so I'm not saying exactly, but I'm saying when it comes to the Pokemon TCG and the rules, Matthew is very, very hot on this. Secondly, and Matthew did put this on his own Twitter, he works in vulnerability management, so finding ways that people can work around the design of systems. So yeah, this is the kind of person that you would expect to be pulling something like this. And what is brilliant, I've seen multiple posts from people who work for Pokemon, etc., basically saying that when Matthew turned up to the tournament with this deck, there was a bit of a mad scramble while everybody tried to figure out, was he actually allowed to do this? And the answer is, yeah. There was absolutely no rule whatsoever that this wasn't allowed to be done. Weird? Yes. Unforeseen? Yes. Almost certainly going to be made illegal in the not too distant future? Oh my, yes. But legal? Yeah. Now, one thing that is very interesting, Matthew basically played like one game or one match. His opponent scooped game 2 so that they could have a game 3 and was always going to drop after one round, which is, good for the judges because this was going to be a bit of a headache. And just to be clear, yes, Matthew is allowed to play this deck because there is nothing in the rules to stop you playing jumbo cards. However, and this is a very important side note, unfortunately, the oversized cards are not cut to quite as high a standard as regular cards, which means that some cards could probably be identified, which means that had Matthew gone deeper into the tournament, it would have involved a lot of scooping on the part of his opponents. Had he done so, the overwhelming likelihood is he probably would have ended up getting a DQ for marked cards, because these cards could be told apart, which is genuinely like a little bit sad, but unfortunately that's kind of the way it goes. It's completely understandable, but it is, I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it is a little bit sad that that would have happened. It was never going to go anywhere, but that's not the point. The point is Matthew did it. And let's be clear, I think when we get a new version of the rulebook, it is very, very likely that we are going to see a new rule which basically sets down the size of the cards you need to play. Because this is a really fun story. But because of the issues of not being able to get sleeves, the cards being easier to identify, playmats not being designed for them, etc., etc. These would be fun on streams. We could read them way more easily, but they wouldn't fit on the screen. If this actually happened in a way that we had a playable deck, this would be a nightmare for so many people involved. This was a very lovely chap going, tee-hee-hee, there's no rule in here that I can't play a jumbo deck, so I'm going to play a jumbo deck to point out that there's no rule that I can't. And I love this, ladies and gentlemen. I love this so very, very much. But just to be clear, it was impossible to win a game, no energy. Well, borderline impossible to win a game because of no energy. And also, it's going to be a loophole that's closed in the future. Now, here is the deck list in all its glory. Matthew did go and post it over on Twitter, and if you're not giving him a follow, I think now is about the time. And you'll notice what we basically got is just a bunch of promo cards. You've got some which are stamped with set symbols that were just given out as promos in shops. You've got the 25th anniversary promos there. You've got some jumbos that aren't stamps that were generally given away in products. And you'll notice there are a bunch of incomplete evolution lines. We've got a Leafeon and a Glaceon V-Star that were printed in their V-Star boxes. But there is no jumbo Leafeon V or Glaceon V, so they were never going to be in the deck. They don't exist. And obviously, it took a little bit of a while to literally get enough cards printed that you could make a jumbo deck. You'll notice some of them there, Matthew did manage to get a playset, but there's an awful lot of one-offs there because it's not necessarily easy to get so many of these jumbos. Now, I will say there are a couple of actual evolution lines in there. So you can see that Matthew is playing both Eternatus V and Eternatus V Max. Now, the regular Eternatus V was actually given out it was a shop promo, it was given away in shops, and you'll notice it does have the Darkness Ablaze logo on. Again, like I say, they're the ones you can tell were given away in shops. But then the V Max was actually given away in the Eternatus V Max Premium Collection, meaning that Matthew could actually play and actually evolve. Again, there's no darkness energy in the deck. Matthew couldn't attack with it. That's not the point, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the point. And we actually saw a pretty similar thing with Snorlax here, whereby Snorlax was given away the V just as a shop promo. You go into a shop and pick up Snorlax V, and the VMAX was actually also a promo that was given away in GameStop. So they were actually both shop promos. They're the only two evolution lines Matthew's able to get away with here. And that's, I think somewhat understandable. I am so happy that this happened. I adore that Matthew did this. The loophole will almost certainly be closed. I foresee a change in the rules coming. But man, what a hero. And I think rightly this has received an awful lot of attention in the Pokemon TCG world. Because who else is going to travel all the way to North American Internationals to play one round with a jumbo deck just because it would be a fun thing to do? This is awesome. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this? Would you ever play a jumbo deck? Do you think the rules should be changed? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, or you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.